How to deal with bullying at school. Thank you to Letty for requesting this video. Let's jump into how to deal with bullying at school. What is bullying? Bullying is defined as intentional and aggressive behavior occurring repeatedly where there is a real or perceived power imbalance. Bullying is not the same as conflict. It is an unbalanced situation where one student has more power than the other student and uses that power to intimidate, humiliate, and wound the other student. Even though most countries have anti-bullying laws, 25% of students have experienced bullying in their lives. Girls, slightly more than boys, and the majority of bullying happening during middle school, around puberty, when students try to find where they stand socially. Bullying can have legal consequences. In 2021, two South Korean professional volleyball playing sisters were accused of being bullies when they were at school. The national outrage was huge, with both being banned from representing their country and let go from their club. In effect, they were cancelled for past actions as kids. Bullying can impact bullies and victims. What happens to you at school can haunt you for the rest of your life. Types of bullying. There are many types of bullying. Physical bullying. Most people think of physical bullying as the most obvious form. It happens when physical actions are used to gain control or intimidate victims. Physical bullies tend to be bigger and more aggressive than their peers. Examples include pushing, kicking, slapping, and shoving. Physical bullying is the easiest to identify, and therefore it gets more attention from schools than other, more subtle forms of bullying. Verbal bullying. Bullies use words, statements, and name calling to gain power and control over a target. Typically, verbal bullies will relentlessly insult to belittle, demean, and hurt another person. Emotional or social bullying. Isolating others, tormenting, hiding books, threatening gestures, humiliation, intimidation, exclusion, manipulation, and coercion. This is also called relational aggression. Relational aggression is a sneaky and insidious type of bullying that often goes unnoticed by parents and teachers. It's a type of social manipulation where teens try to hurt their peers or sabotage their social standing. Relational bullies often ostracize their victims from a group, spread rumors, manipulate situations, and intentionally reveal secrets. Sexual bullying consists of repeated, harmful, and humiliating actions that target a person sexually. Examples include sexual name calling, lewd comments, vulgar gestures, uninvited touching, sexual propositioning, and pornographic material. A bully might make a crude comment about a peer's appearance, attractiveness, sexual development, or sexual activity. In extreme cases, sexual bullying opens the door to sexual assault. Girls are often the targets of sexual bullying by both boys and by other girls. Boys might touch them inappropriately, comment about their bodies, or proposition them. Girls might call other girls names, make insulting comments about their appearance, and engage in shaming. Online. The most recent type of bullying is online. Bullies use social media to attack their victims. Posting on social media, starting rumors, sharing photos, sending nasty messages, and social exclusion. These are the hardest to manage for a teacher, but the fact that there might be evidence of bullying might make life difficult for bullies, but perhaps also their victims by having it out on the internet. Why do students bully? I posted the following poll on social media. What causes bullying at school? Low self-esteem, lack of attention at home, power or dominance, to gain a sense of power among their classmates, peer pressure, popularity. It's part of social hierarchy. Personality, strong versus weak. They wish to challenge their peers. Environment, home, school, and community. The majority of teachers voted for the environment having the biggest impact, although it was mentioned that it's probably a combination of many factors. So if someone comes from a bad home, a violent neighborhood, or school, they are more likely to get involved in bullying. This includes having negative role models. If the people around them are violent, they are more likely to act violently. While this is true, the biggest indication that someone will become a bully or not is down to their personality. That is why, even if two people come from the exact same background, one might become a bully and the other a victim. Even though their situations are the same, the way they deal with it is different. After many studies, it was found that students with low scores on extroversion are more likely to become victims of bullying, and children with low scores on agreeableness and conscientiousness, bullies. Basically, bullies have low empathy and victims are usually shy. Therefore, as teachers, a good idea is to be mindful of our learners' personalities and check in with them often to see how they're doing. If a student is being bullied, why don't kids tell their parents or teacher they are being bullied? In a recent survey of 1,000 learners, only 46% of victims told a teacher and 33% told a parent. There are some fears and feelings and beliefs of young people in terms of telling. The bullying will get worse. Teenagers are particularly vulnerable to the ridicule and ostracism inflicted on people who have ratted. They have already been threatened physically. They fear retaliation for telling. Shame for not standing up for themselves. They feel like a failure for not coping with school, like they somehow deserve to be bullied, and the guilt accompanying it too. Many victims simply lack the social skills and confidence to come forward. Some victims believe that nothing can be done about the bullying, and in schools where the anti-bullying ethos is weak, they may believe that nothing will be done. Therefore, it is important that teachers take a proactive role in investigating whether bullying occurs within their classes. Now that we've looked at what bullying is and why kids bully, let's look at what teachers can do to stop bullying. How to prevent bullying at school. Your first responsibility is creating a safe, healthy environment in your classroom, one that protects all students from harm, physical or emotional, as a result of the actions of other students. This means that you must identify any potential bullies and victims and become a vigilant observer of their behaviors. Schools that create a culture of inclusion, train staff about bullying, and follow clear protocols have better outcomes against bullying and greater safety. Create an intervention plan. Schools with a good program and atmosphere have less bullying. All students should be taught how to act when they see someone being bullied, or if they're being bullied themselves. All teachers should be taught what to do in case of bullying. Set up systems for success in your school. Explain your policy to students. Make sure they know how to identify different forms of bullying and how to report bullying behavior. Young people need to feel confident that they will be believed and action will be taken to protect them. They should know that they can walk away or avoid bullying situations, and that they can and should talk to an adult, a teacher or a parent, as soon as possible. There should be no negative connotations or consequences associated with sharing information about a bullying incident. Identify potential bullies and victims. Bullies have complex issues. Some have been bullied and now bullying out of some sense of transferred revenge. Some have poor self-esteem and must bully to improve their sense of worth. By understanding a bully's motivation, we should try and refocus that energy in a positive way. Much of bullying is about power and domination, and it's important to understand this if you are to address the bully in a disciplinary response. Victims of bullies also suffer from low self-esteem, but tend to show it through introversion, meekness, and social ineptness. As teachers, we should try and help our students in assertiveness or self-confidence by teaching them the skills to express themselves and praising their accomplishments. Look for what is called gateway indicators. These are initial behaviors that students display that are often gateways for more intentional types of bullying. Some possible gateway indicators include rolling eyes, laughing under their breath, making jokes, turning their backs on others, and using sarcasm. If you see these behaviors, look a little closer. There may be subtle forms of bullying already taking place. Teach kindness and empathy. When students are able to approach ideas and problems from multiple perspectives, they are less likely to bully others. Students should participate in activities that boost social emotional learning. As a teacher, find ways to help children understand and appreciate their identity as well as others. To do this requires empathy and kindness. Empathy is the ability to put yourself in someone else's shoes, and teachers need to embed this skill into their curriculum. One way to do this is to have kids to work together and talk about their differences. Allow them to practice conflict resolution, work through problems, and build their understanding of those around them. Watch out for the forming of social cliques. When you select groups, you are ensuring that your students learn to work with those outside their circle of friends. Pre-selected groups also give students the opportunity to learn how to work with different types of people. Be certain to develop trusting relationships with students. Students need to trust that you genuinely care and want each of them to be comfortable. They also need to trust that they can come to you in confidence to report bullying they observe or know about. Strive to empower the bystanders in your class. Tell them to stand up against bullying behavior or to report it to you or another adult. Remind them that research has shown that bullying ends when one person takes a stand. Encourage good behavior. Positive reinforcement can be more powerful than negative discipline. Catch your kids being good. When they handle a situation in a positive way, take notice and praise them for it. You have done your best to prevent bullying, but someone reported an act of bullying or a victim personally came to see you. How to deal with reported bullying at school. Always take every report of bullying seriously. Otherwise, you risk serious cases falling through the net. Record what took place and what actions were taken. Get as much information from all parties involved and keep it as evidence. It is recommended that all schools have a reporting system in place for incidents of bullying behavior and actions to resolve it taken by staff. Include details such as the nature of the incident, the date, time, location, names of those involved, names of witnesses, any other relevant history, and the teacher's response. Stick to the facts. Be careful, however, not to ask leading questions. You want to be mindful that there are many sides to a story, so you want to get as much information as you can. A victim could be using the system to punish someone else. Bullies, when put on the spot, might lie to get themselves out of trouble. By sticking to the facts and removing emotion as much as possible, students will respect the process more and not react emotionally. Ask the victim what they want to happen. It is important that the student on the receiving end of bullying behavior feels included in any action taken and that they are not surprised by anything you'll do. Children fear what might happen if they report bullying, particularly that the bullying might intensify. They need you to listen, give reassurance, and explain that together you will resolve the situation. Follow the school guidelines on bullying to resolve the issue. Peer mediation and other types of group counseling are not effective in bullying situations. Start by interviewing the bully and victim individually. Get all the facts, then mediate with both parties present. Don't stop until the incident is resolved. Bullying is repetitive by nature, so we should regularly check in to see that it has stopped. What should teachers do about bullying in class? Stop the bullying immediately. As the leader in class, you have to ensure the safety of all your learners. Get between the two students, blocking eye contact. Your first priority is to de-escalate the situation. Separate the learners, ask them to move to different parts of the class, or if one is very emotional, ask a friend to escort them to the bathroom to wash up, giving them time to calm down. Tell the parties involved that you will speak to them after class. Get the rest of class back on task, but be more vigilant and walk around. Check in on the students and make sure that the parties involved don't interact again. Once class is over, you want to speak to both students, but separately at first. Ask one to stay behind to talk and the other to come back at another time to see you privately. It's up to you who stays and who goes. Once you have both sides of the story, write a report. That will let students know that you are monitoring their actions. Speak in a matter-of-fact tone of voice to describe what you have heard or saw. Let all students know that bullying is always unacceptable. Refer to school rules regarding bullying and impose the consequences. Notify colleagues and parents of the situation. Engaging parents in bullying prevention programs will help reduce incidents in the classroom. 22% of complaints to schools by parents are about bullying, second only to discipline and behavioral issues. The complaints are about the school not dealing with bullying. Remember, this is also a learning opportunity. You won't always be in your students' lives. So, use this as a time to give them the skills to be better in the future. Let the rest of class know how they might appropriately intervene in such a situation or get help. Tell them that you noticed their inaction or that you're pleased with how they acted. Bullying does not happen in a vacuum. It is supported by social dynamics within which the bully and the victim are not the only actors at all. In an environment affected by bullying, most people fall into the category of bystanders. Bullying episodes can somehow be nourished or hindered by the people who can see or know what's happening. Role play situations so that students practice how to behave and see what is expected of them. It is important to let the bully know that you are not upset at them as a person, but their behavior is unacceptable. They are there to learn and work with their friends. Such behavior isn't tolerated in the civilized world, and they will need to be better if they want to be successful in the future. When talking to the bully, in a calm and clear manner, describe their behavior to them and explain why it constitutes a form of bullying. Explain the effect of their behavior on the victim. Try to figure out what happened from the bully's perspective. Tell them that their behavior is harmful to others. Explain what behavior is expected. Make them understand their responsibilities and the consequences of their actions. Their parents will be informed. They will stay behind a year at school or given a notice. Don't allow them to blame the victim. Instead, encourage them to own up to their own behavior. Address the bullying behavior and administer the appropriate discipline. When speaking to the victim, let them know that you will always support them and that they should let you know if bullying ever occurs. But you won't always be there in their life. They should learn how to stand up for themselves. Do a role play where you give the victim a script to follow, where they tell their bully that their actions are unacceptable and that they should stop. Practice saying the words. Work on eye contact and strong body language. Teaching social skills is an unwritten part of a teacher's duty. What to do after bullying. Keeping tabs on both the bully and the victim is an important step in making sure bullying ends. Watch how they interact in your classroom. Keep an eye on them at lunch and pay attention to what happens at recess. Make a few surprise visits to the bus area. Observing how your students interact with each other will help prevent future bullying incidents. In private conversations, ask your students how things are going and if they're having any problems. Give the victims tools for dealing with future bullying incidents and for regaining self-confidence. Encourage the bully to make good choices. It is important to keep in mind that it's not only the victims of bullying, but the bullies themselves who might need help. First of all, you shouldn't regard the child's aggressive behavior as childish horseplay. When aggressive behavior isn't addressed in time, it can become a lifestyle, and childhood is precisely the right time to address the issue. Talk with the child openly and try to work out what provoked them to behave that way. Sometimes, when children are victims of violence or abuse from their parents or older siblings, they direct their distress and hurt towards other children. Your efforts shouldn't go into looking for punishment, but instead trying to change the child's aggression into socially accepted behavior. Often, only punishing the aggressor is not effective in stopping the unwanted actions. What's more important than punishment is showing the child that you accept them, but not their aggressive behavior. Don't hold a grudge against students who bully. Give them an opportunity to put the past in the past. With the proper support and encouragement, they can learn to treat others with respect and kindness. Signs of a good teacher. Teachers are in an influential position as educators and agents of socialization, helping to promote healthy relationships among students and to prevent negative interactions. Signs of a good teacher are: concentrates not only on imparting knowledge during a lesson, but also on creating a safe environment for learning. Spots signs of bullying and reacts accordingly. Notices when a learner looks upset or is left out of a group. Tries to find out the reason behind bad behavior. Supports students who are bullied and tries to stop the bullying. Helps students to find the right way to react when someone is bullying them, rather than telling them that they should not pay attention or that they should protect themselves by hitting back at their bullies. Helps the aggressors change their behavior and sets a good example for all students to follow. What if a teacher is being bullied? Often we get a class that is so bad that it feels like we are the ones being bullied. For tips on how to fix out of control classes, check out this playlist on classroom management.